mean, this could be your James Bond franchise, Eric.
I don't know about
With
that.
less action.
Let's just get this one out.
None of you have been honest with me about what happened out there.
Why are you really here?
Out there. Nature holds us all to account.
Hi, Eric. Hello, Robert. It's nice to talk to you again.
Hello.
And congrats on Force of Nature coming out. We were a bit worried about this one because it got delayed again, and the Dry was delayed because of COVID, obviously. Is Aaron Falk cursed?
Well, let's hope he's as cursed as last time. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredibly successful the first time around, and it looks like this one's going to be exactly the same. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Eric, Aaron's cases end up kind of being a therapy for him, I guess. And in this one, I would say he's a tad less tortured. Where is he at when we meet him in Force of Nature?
Yeah, I think he's dealt with his past, obviously, in the Dry, but I feel like in this one there's almost a bit more pressure. I feel like he really feels personally responsible for Alice, and I think that's really, really telling. And Jacqueline McKenzie's character does such a great job in kind of like working with him, but at the same time challenging him. And once again, he's kind of forced to reckon with whatever demons he's facing. So it was a real privilege to be able to. I've never done a follow-up or a sequel before, so to be able to do a character that you already know really well and that you've already done some groundwork with was a real gift.
I didn't realise that this was the first sequel that you've
For both
done.
of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And how did it feel slipping back into that character?
It was fantastic, yeah. I mean, and also to work with the same director. There's definitely a shorthand in so many areas.
I mean, you guys work so well together, obviously. This isn't the only project that you've worked on. Who convinced who that it was time to return to Aaron Falk?
That's a good question, actually, because we were talking about that, trying to work out when we decided. And when we made the Dry, we didn't even think that there'd be you never assume there'll be a sequel. And there must have been a period afterwards where the book just intrigued us. It's got such an original idea. These 5 women who go on this corporate retreat into the bush and get lost. It felt like we'd never seen that in Australian cinema before. We share an office together, we work together, and we toss around a lot of ideas. I guess we probably were just kind of trying to work out how to crack it.
Yeah, we always really loved the premise, and we were always trying to envisage these 5 actors in the central role of the women who get lost in the bush. And then as we had conversations around that, it just became really, really exciting.
Robert, there's such a distinctive visual language to this film, as there was with The Dry, and it's just absolutely stunning when you juxtapose it between The Dry, the harshness of that environment, and then the lush landscapes that we see in the Victorian mountains. How do you go about translating that onto screen? It must be a mammoth task.
Yeah, I think the first thing you've got to do is get out in the bush for this film. Like in The Dry, we went out and lived in the Mallee and the Wimmera for the entire shoot. And in this, you have to get into really remote rainforest, subtropical rain. That's right. And so you invite the actors to come on that journey because it's going to be tough. Yeah. But I think audiences love authenticity. They love to be taken to places they've never been. You know, they need to see it on the big screen. Yeah. You know, we have an obligation almost to shoot it in a way that is epic and grand. And I love that. I love taking audiences somewhere like this, not only in Australia but globally. You know, into the Australian bush. But it's tricky. It's tough. It's really, you know, a robust experience for the actors and the crew. You really need fellow travellers who are willing to kind of rough it. I mean, this was the heart of winter. It was raining. I think 90% of the shoot it was raining. It was a pretty fierce production.
Yeah, I love that you use the words epic and grand, because I think that's what's so exciting about these films is seeing the uniqueness of Australia come to life on screen. I think that's what really excites people. Where does The Force of Nature fit on the timeline compared to The Dry?
It's about 6 months after.
Is it, so it's quite soon?
Yeah. It's not years after, but he's come back at the end of The Dry and, you know, started working back in the city, and he's still got the kind of residue sense of what happened in The Dry and the complexity of that, and he's moved on a bit from there. And again, I think, you know, taking the character further on the next step. A sequel has to take a character psychologically further. And so I think that's pretty much the timeline we talked about 6 months.
And obviously Jane has a 3rd book called Exiles. Is there any plans to adapt that one too?
We're going to see how this goes. I mean, I think we try and be very focused on the film at hand, you know, and you know, when we made The Dry, we didn't even imagine a sequel. I mean,
We literally, like never once discussed
Yeah.
And when we do the second one, like, it was just, we were so focused. And even with this one, there was never a conversation on set about, now, if we could do this now, we would set up for, like, just hyper-focus on this.
Because each film has to be a standalone film. You know, Force of Nature, even if you hadn't seen The Dry, it has to be a standalone kind of work.
And now that you're thinking about it, does Aaron Falk have a life on film beyond the books? I mean, this could be your James Bond franchise, Eric.
I don't know about
With
that.
less action.
Let's just get this one out.
We'll do what was the Indiana Jones, the Young Indiana series? Or,
Yeah.
No, we're just delighted that Jane Harper was happy for us to take, Aaron Falk into this amazing world, second film.
Well, you did such a fantastic job on both of them. Congratulations again.
Thanks very
and
much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time. Really
Lovely to
appreciate
chat to
it.
you again.
Yeah.